to the 7 Ways from Sunday podcast. My name is Larry Stump, your host and brother in Christ. As you know, the purpose of this podcast is to edify and equip the saints for the work of ministry and to build up the body of Christ, as we read in Ephesians 4, 11 and 12. We are continuing this our second episode dealing with overcoming depression. Last time we looked at how to recognize it. This time what I want to do is focus on various major symptoms of depression. So if you are someone who has a friend, a family member, a loved one who you think is in depression or some stage of depression, this may help you kind of quantify or qualify whether they are or not. And these are symptoms that we see in our Bibles. And I would direct you to the book of Job, because the vast majority of these symptoms I'm going to share with you this morning, Job had them. Job and David dealt with depression. Jonah dealt with depression. There are many biblical characters, even Elijah, that we talked about last time, dealt with depression. And we've seen in those cases how God didn't forsake them. Now, their responses to what God was doing could be different, but God does not forsake his own. And I want you to be encouraged by that, dear Christians. So we are going to begin our next study in this topic, taking this one step forward, because I want to discuss these major symptoms of depression because they're pretty important. So we're going to have to let our class begin. Are you ready? So here we go. I think one of the first ones, and as I said, I direct you to the book of Job overall, and even Psalms, and listen to what David says in various Psalms there, in Psalms 22 and Psalms 29 and elsewhere. You'll find different statements of David. But overwhelmingly, I want to focus on Job, because what we see with Job, one of the first, I would list it first. I'm not going to put these in a special order how you would find them. Just my way to order it for my sense of direction here. But they may come in, you may see these at different levels or different places than what I'm laying them out here for you. But these are symptoms of depression. And the first one I would bring to mind is a change in appetite, right? A person may go from eating a lot to really eating nothing at all, or from eating a little to eating a lot. They're just one way or the other, their diet is going to change. Their appetite is going to change because they're dealing with, they're in a sense of depression. We see that with Job. Job's appetite almost totally disappeared. Maybe you can relate to that. In Job 3:24, we read, Job says, "My groaning comes at the sight of my food, and my cries pour out like water." He says in chapter 6, verse 7, and speaking about eggs, "Can something tasteless be eaten without salt, or is there any taste in the white of an egg? My soul refuses to touch them. They are like loathsome food to me." The situation that Job was going through was pretty terrible, pretty deep, pretty painful, probably far worse than most any of us would ever have to experience. At least I pray we would never have to experience something of that depth. And he lost his appetite. David expresses that as well in Psalm 102, verse 4. He says, "My heart has been smitten like grass and has withered away. Indeed, I forget to eat my bread." Loss of appetite is one major symptom of depression. Another one would be difficulty in sleeping. You may try to go to sleep and just your mind just keeps going and it won't stop. The thoughts are there, the obsessions are there, and you just can't let it go. Or it could be because of the depression and the physical issues that are occurring because of seeking to suppress your feelings or emotions or what have you. You develop physical problems, upset stomach, heartburn, a rash, headaches, whatever it may be. Job had that kind of experience as well. Job was haunted by sleep disturbances and bad dreams. He says in chapter 7, verse 14, and yes, you're going to hear me flipping through my Bible to find these verses. He says, "If I say that my beds will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint, then you do frighten me with dreams and terrify me by visions, so that my soul would choose suffocation, death, rather than my pains. That's a bad symptom, isn't it? Difficulty in sleep and being haunted by dreams and visions and horrible things happening when you try to sleep. My friend, have you ever had a sleepless night when it seemed that your blanket or your shirt was just wrapping around your neck and was going to strangle you? It seems like Job mentions something like that in chapter 30, verse 16 through 18. Another major symptom of depression would be avoiding responsibility. I mentioned in our last episode, retreating to your bedroom, covering yourself with a blanket and just wallowing there in that, hiding, perhaps in self-pity, just avoiding everything. That's where Job seeked to find comfort at times. But it's also the place, as we read, where he was haunted by sleep disturbances. Perhaps another symptom you may be facing or know someone to be facing is they have a genuine belief that nobody cares about them. Right? Job mentions in chapter 12, verse 4, that he felt forsaken by his friends. He says, let me get to it here. He says, I am a joke to my friends, the one who called on God and he answered him. The just and the blameless man is a joke. So he felt that way too, that he was just a joke, forsaken by his friends and neighbors. In Psalm 22, verses 6 through 8, King David feels the same way as he struggles with depression. Another symptom of depression that we find in our Bible, especially here relating to Job, is just this feeling that it's impossible to reach God. We also mentioned that last time. We feel like God's punishing us. We feel like God doesn't listen to us. He's not around us. He doesn't care anymore. Job felt that way. We read that in chapter 13, verse 3. He says, but I would speak to the Almighty and I desire to argue with God. But it's like God's not around. God is not around. He mentions that in chapter 23, verse 3 and verses 8 through 9. David also in Psalm 22, 1 and 2, if I can find that quickly here, Psalm 22, verses 1 and 2. Okay, give me 2 seconds. My God, he says, why hast thou forsaken me? Far from my deliverance are the words from my groaning. Oh my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer me, and by night, but I have no rest. Christian, have you felt like it's impossible to reach God or God's just not there? You're not alone. Job and David felt that way. Living in the past, Job felt that way. Job 17:11. He also mentions something like that in chapter 29, verses 21 and 22. Self-centeredness, Job 17:7. My eye has also grown dim because of my grief, and all my members are as a shadow. Constantly focused on the issue, on the pain, on the agonies, which I get. I mean, I know how I am. I have a very weak tolerance to pain, so I would definitely be pitying myself if I was in the pangs of a situation like Job was. But we are prone to self-pity, to focus on the issue of the pain or the suffering more so than the relief that can come through our Lord Jesus Christ and his word to help us. Job felt that way. David felt that way. You're not alone if you feel that way. At times, I've even felt that way. Job felt like God was punishing him. Perhaps you do too. He felt he was being harassed. We read that in Job 7:17, and David felt that way as well in Psalm 38, 1 through 4. Do you feel perhaps like you're being harassed either by God or by others or just by Satan or whatever's going on in your mind? Another major symptom of depression would be a loss of hope. In other words, we tend to get to a place where we believe there's nothing at all to live for. right? We have this preoccupation with death. Let me see if I can find this verse in Job 6:13. Is it that my help is not within me, and that deliverance is driven from me? For the despairing man there should be kindness from his friends. But yet Job didn't feel like there was. He's preoccupied, it seems, with death. Let me see if I have this verse right in chapter 3, 20 and 22. We read, why is light given to him who suffers, and life to the bitter soul, who long for death, but there is none, and dig for it more than for hidden treasures, who rejoice greatly, then exult when they find the grave. You're not alone if you have that preoccupation with death in the midst of your depression. I'm not telling you that's right or it's justifiable. What I am trying to share with you is that there are biblical examples, such as you're seeing here with Job and David, and even with Jonah. If you look there, especially in chapter 4, Jonah was a discouraged, depressed prophet as well. And these are just a few of the examples we find in the Bible, where you, dear Christian, can find the counsel, the encouragement that you need to overcome the depression that you're facing. Elijah despaired, right? Lost interest in his surroundings. Elijah, in 1 Kings 19:4, took off and slumped under a bush in despair when he was greatly discouraged and felt like he was the only man left standing in the cause of God and wanted God to take his life because he couldn't bear it. And the last one, and this certainly may not encompass them all. These are just some I want you to focus on that may help you, is to recognize the symptoms of depression in your own life or in that of the one you seek to help. And the last one would be this: difficulty in making decisions. Do you find that you're having difficulty making even the simplest decisions, that you just defer to other people because your mind just isn't there? You can't focus on it, can't relate to it, and you just can't make what seems to be a rational decision. Jonah was a lot like that. Jonah had a myriad of mixed emotions. And I think because of that, it's reasonable to suggest that he was filled with conflict at the request that the Lord had given him to do, and wasn't able to make wise choices, struggle with those choices. Sometimes we're going to find that we have that same issue as well. And we need to realize that our depression hides behind a mask of all kinds of defenses, marital problems, physical complaints. And we need to look beyond the exterior symptoms, the headaches, the rash, the stomach discomfort, the ulcers, or whatever it is that we may put out there as the exterior symptoms. We need to look beyond that and get to the heart of the problem. Oftentimes, we tend to think that, especially if we're really deeply depressed, that it's a spiritual problem when we're locked into that deep a depth of discouragement. And it could very well be a spiritual problem. But oftentimes, my friend, depression is not a spiritual problem. Our depression creates that, or seems to hide behind that mask and make it something that it's not, when in actuality it may just be unconfessed sin, or it may be fear of owning up to something. It could be a host of other things. And these emotional problems that we seek to hide can just build walls that temporarily block us off from the Lord. And what I want to encourage you today is think through these, and I hope you find them helpful in your own life or in the life of counseling others. And next time we get together, we're going to look at how to overcome depression. And we're going to get counsel from Pastor Paul Washer. So I hope you'll join me next time on 7 Ways from Sunday podcast. And remember, until next time, my friends, we walk by faith and not by sight.